Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to this other edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime. This evening, we're going to be talking, as a tradition for Tuesday editions at Demand, we're going to be talking about issues relating to marriage and relationships. So this evening, we are asking and finding out what it will take for couples to work together so that they remain faithful to one another. Is it even possible for couples to remain faithful today? Do we have faithful husbands or faithful wives? What are those things that these couples are supposed to engage in to ensure that they remain faithful? If time permits, we also are going to be looking at what couples are supposed to do to ensure that they bring up their children in a successful manner so that these children in turn out to be successful persons in their lives for the benefit of their communities. Why not the families themselves? We are going to be discussing the program with our consultant, Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa, who is in the studio with us. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, Cameroonians and viewers of Prime Hour. It's been some time. I've not been on set, but I'm happy to be here again this evening. Thanks for all the concern and all of you text me messages asking why I've not been here.
Okay. We also, if time permits, Apostle Alfred Esingie is going to be joining us from wherever he's caught in traffic. But we are also going to be having the participation of Miss Esingie Yvette from Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital. I'll start with you, Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa. What should couples do to remain faithful to one another? Do you think that people actually consider this very, very important, that there are things that I need to do so that I don't cheat on my husband or wife?
Well, Mr. Leo, when we are addressing issues concerning marriage, there's always an exception and there is a rule. The rule is that most people cheat in relationships. Most men cheat, women equally cheat in relationships. So if we are talking on what couples need to do to make sure they don't cheat on each other, first and foremost, I think it's a personal responsibility. Because
what is that responsibility? I'm asking.
Yes.
When people know that they have a responsibility to work towards that.
Of course, you know, there is a lot. This topic is very, very complex because people who get married, they get married with different ideas and different backgrounds. There is this notion that you have to get married as a monogamist. Once you get married as a monogamist, you have the responsibility to remain faithful to your partner because you signed and accepted that this woman is the only woman you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and the man likewise. But you see, there are a lot of elements put together that sometimes make people violate rules. They break rules, they break covenants, they break agreements, because nobody is perfect as far as life is concerned. But what are the things we need to put in place to make sure that we do not cheat our partners in relationships or in marriage? The first thing has to do with our conscience. I think no mechanical parameters could be put in place in order for partners not to cheat without, first of all, dealing with our consciences. The first place is your conscience. A woman is not supposed to monitor you. A woman is supposed to pursue you. She's not supposed to send spies behind you. The same way a man is not supposed to monitor you, send spies behind you, and pursue you wherever you go to keep you from cheating. The responsibility of being faithful to your partner is first and foremost a matter of the conscience. You are supposed to search your heart and understand that you took an oath and a vow to stay true to one person throughout your life. That responsibility, first of all, belongs to you before any other mechanism put in place. And if you don't take that responsibility, every other mechanism put in place will only fail because you will lose for ways to skim your way through beyond those mechanisms. So the first place is our consciences. Where is the place of the conscience in marriage? Where is the place of the vow and the oath and the covenants we took that I'm going to stay true to this woman throughout the days of my life, and I'm going to stay true to this man throughout the days of my lives? The issue is those vows and covenants are taken initially when we are entering into relationships. But sometimes we step into the relationship and discover that circumstances beyond our control cannot even allow you to stay in a relationship and be faithful. Because if you step into a house where the man is a tyrant, is a torment, sometimes those circumstances push you to act out of the normal proportion because the condition in the house, the atmosphere, does not permit you to stay true to a man. The same way with a woman. And these are the things that press men to go out. But for conscience sake, if at all we have to actually make sure that we put barriers and blockades that will not allow us to go out, it has to begin first with the conscience. Because I've seen women and men put all kinds of artificial mechanisms in place to make sure that their partners don't cheat. But unfortunately, these partners still look for ways to cheat. I have seen people who have told their wives not to leave their house. The people have employed people in the houses to come and do the thing inside the house. So tying a woman within a fence does not solve the situation. Sometimes women also send people to put spy behind men, and the men still go out and commit the atrocities they have to commit. So I think if at all we have to stop this thing, it has to begin with the conscience of the individual. Where you are standing somewhere, the only judge you have is not the person your wife has sent behind you or your husband. It's not the neighbor you are afraid of. It's not the camera you are afraid of. But your conscience is that monitor within you that tells you that, my friend, what you are about to do is not correct and what you're about to do is wrong.
What you're about to do, but have you heard from many persons before getting married that when I get married, I'll never cheat on my wife?
Of course.
When I get married, I'll never cheat on my husband. And we have that craving and think that once you get married, there will be no need to desire another person. But once we get into the house, it's complete different ballgame.
That's exactly what I'm telling you, that there is this vow, there is this covenant, there are these agreements we make when the love is at its peak. Once we enter into that relationship, as years are going by, things that occur within that immediate environment can make you start thinking or seeing someone else being that category of woman that you ever dreamt for, that ideal man or that ideal woman. You begin to feel a vacuum because the kind of expectations you have from the woman you are living with or the man you are living with is no longer coming. And there's also the bit of temptation. Because sometimes when you are looking at a woman, you look as if it's the only woman that is yearning for you. But once you get married, you realize that it's not only one woman that has ever yearned for you. Many other women are also yearning for you. And what do? You have to be able to stand as a man because of your conscience sake. But sometimes it is sometimes difficult, because even when people put up all protocols to make sure they respect the marital vows, sometimes the pressure in the house can cause a man or a woman to fall outside in the hand of somebody who seems to understand that people remain faithful to each other. It is going to be very difficult because circumstances in your house sometimes may press you to go out of your house and fall in the hands of another person. The truth is, one of the dangers, when a man starts getting frustrated in a home, he will find somebody to explain that worry. And once you start explaining that worry to another opposite sex, the person begins to see exactly what to do to fit that vacuum that is created in your house. From there, your attention is divided. Because at home, you are expecting something they are not giving you, and somebody is taking advantage of that vacuum in your house and is feeling it. For instance, your wife does not serve you food on time. You tell a fellow friend or a colleague who is a female, she may want to give you food at that time. Sometimes you have a loose anger, you speak and your wife responds. You may meet a colleague or a lady also, when you speak, she will know how to control herself. You begin to compare and contrast the woman and your wife, and seeing that your cravings and your errors are easily managed outside than the person you claim to be married to in the house. All those cracks and furrows create space for an external force to penetrate.
Okay. Good evening to you, Gerard Nde, and to you, Robert Nji. Good evening to you, Bobga Chabri, all watching on Facebook. We are going to be listening to Miss Esingie Yvette, who will be coming in from Bamenda, Northwest region. Seemingly, she's not yet ready. Please let me know when she's ready, but I will stay with you, Apostle Ambe, Valentine, and Ngwa. We are talking about what couples should do so that they don't actually cheat on one another. We're talking about staying faithful to one another. Can the church actually help in this situation that you guys are married? You are very strong Christians. You all attend the church. Every day you attend all the programs, you attend the seminars. Can it work?
It's not going to work.
Okay.
Cannot. The best
it may work to some extent.
It may work to some extent, but there's a 30%.
Okay.
Why? Because I bring this straight to you, Mr. Liu. The church the church's responsibility is to make sure that they give you the necessary information that you need in life. The church does not force information on you. It only gives you what you need as counsel and guidance. That application of that information is practically your responsibility. There is this notion people believe that when you step into the church, a garment comes on you and a rod enters your hand, that even if you are asleep, you are still using the rod like a remote control. It doesn't work like that. The church is also like a school. Where you go, information is dispensed to you. You gather that information, you apply the information. It is the application of that information that is called wisdom. Now, when you apply the information, it becomes reality in your life. And there are so many persons who have heard God's word repeatedly over and over, and they don't still pay attention to it. God says he hates divorce, yet pastors divorce. And those pastors might have, in one way or another, preached against that divorce in their churches in times past. So how could they manage to divorce when they had preached against that divorce in the past? They are bearers of the word. They are carriers of the word. They are teachers of the word. They are even far more better than the ones who are listening to the word, because the scripture says that those who teach the gospel shall be strictly judged than those who hear the gospel, because an error of a teacher can carry a generation into error. But those who are listening don't have a lot of how do I put it, judgment as he that teaches the word. Now imagine a man who is a custodian of the mysteries of Christ, a teacher of the truth. Then tomorrow, with all the truth he has taught, he goes against it. Just like Moses, he taught them that God gave the laws that thou shalt not get married to strangers. But he was the first person who went against that law to get married to an Ethiopian woman. How do you explain that? Now, if the teachers of the word of God, who are supposed to be the bearers, the role model, and the pathfinders of the world that you cultivate into your system based on the truth you have acquired and the knowledge you know, that is what you do. The Bible says, those who do know their God, they shall be strong and they shall do exploits. There are a lot of people who go to church but they have no fear of God. They are anointed but they have no fear of God. They preach the gospel but they have no fear of God. As a matter of fact, they stand on the altar and proclaim the gospel but they have no fear of God. So when you say somebody is in church, it's not an automatic guarantee, because there is this deception that people sit in church and blindfold sisters that because they are in church, they are automatically holy. And some people get confused because they think if they walk into a church, they get married to a sister, the sister is automatically holy. No! People's decision, people's attitudes are cultivated individually. In those days, I have friends who tell me that I know say church girls and are holy sisters. Go and get a sister from the church for me. But that's not the case. I will always advise you, make sure you study what you want to get married to, because tomorrow you will say it came from the church. That it came from the church does not mean that it was of God. The Bible says when the sons of God gathered, Satan was also there, which means there are demons also in church who dress like saints. So don't misconstrue the fact that somebody is in church means that he has automatic fear of God. That's an error.
Okay. It's an error. Good evening to you, Mbarka Walters, watching. Also, Christopher Ikoko, and to you, Nadesh Anwi, and Daniel Che, watching, and Gothic Newkonyi, who is always watching. Good evening to you, Isabella Tenwi. We're glad to note that you guys are watching on our social media handle. Helen Ashu, good evening to all of you. We are looking at Miss Esingie. Is she ready? Can we get her first reaction?
Greetings to you, Mr. Leo, and greetings to the panelists and our televiewers. For couples to be faithful towards each other, I think it starts with personal evaluation, individual work. Because when people cheat, most often, even though they want to look for reasons to hide behind it, I believe that cheating is more of lack of self-discipline, lack of self-control. So, in as much as your spouse might encourage you to be faithful or do everything that can keep you faithful, at the end of the day, it's only people that are self-controlled or self-disciplined that will remain faithful. People give a lot of reasons for unfaithfulness, but I personally don't see those reasons as a push factor. I'm not saying that there are no push factors for cheating, but in very rare cases, because the truth is lack of self-discipline. There are people that maybe, let's say their wife is nagging, their wife is quarrelsome, in fact, their wife is a whole headache, but they still choose not to cheat. That's to make you understand that at the end of the day, cheating is a personal decision. You choose to do that. It's not like it happens accidentally, like you get into it. So if we want to look at how or what couples can do to stay faithful, it will start with their individual work. While I'm working on myself, my husband is working on himself. Or while you're working on yourself, your wife is working on herself. Before we even come to other things that will contribute to help you stay faithful. You must, discipline yourself when it comes to some things. At least learn how to say no. Even if a woman exposes her body to you naked and everything, have a no in your mouth. Even if a man gives you millions of thousands just to have your body, have a no in your mouth. That's what we talk about, self-discipline. Not going down for anything, just not putting your integrity or self-respect at the cost because of whatever. So couples should learn to work on themselves first if they want to stay faithful. Self-discipline, self-control is the first trick, is the first thing that every couple can do. And this is personal effort. It's personal. Leave your spouse out of it first and work on yourself. Then you'll be able to stay faithful to your spouse.
Okay, that was Mr. Esingie Ifet coming in from Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital. Good evening to you. Louis Pop, Eta Ngembule, good evening to you. Nyam David and Vice Ngwa Koye, good evening to all of you guys. Apostle Ambe, Valentine Ngwa. We want people to stay faithful. And you say it takes a conscious action like what she just said. But conscious action, should people not also work on themselves? That is, someone got attracted to you because of the looks, because of certain qualities, and once you get into the house, you may want to play down on what actually got the person attracted, and then he now starts wanting to see those things in others.
Yeah, these are some of the things we always take as excuses. For instance, you get married to a woman who is very slim, and that's the kind of shape of a woman you desire, and suddenly the woman comes inside and then gives birth to 1 or 2 children and then develops too much size. And then you lose interest and then start focusing for the kind of woman you ever got married to initially outside. You're telling the woman that she should do something with her size, her weight, cut down, and then come back to where she used to be. You have to you have to understand that before that woman ever came to your house, she had no children. Number 2, she had no responsibilities as compared to what you're asking her to do right now. We always sometimes tell the woman to go back to the gym, do something, take up something. When there are certain hormones in your system, when those hormones break loose, it's sometimes very difficult sometimes if you control those hormones. We tell the ladies to put them under pressure to go to the gym and take all kinds of supplements to cut down, do exercises, and those are the things that man will give as excuse to go out. Mr. Leo, I have said it and I'm still repeating it. Money does not make anybody proud. It only brings out the pride in you. Money does not make anybody arrogant. The arrogant has been there as a seed. Money only came to water it for it to blossom. It's the same thing that cheating on a woman is not based on her shape or her size. That thing is in you. It only developed because a circumstance was created for it to come out. A man who will not cheat, even if the wife runs blind, crippled, or lose one or part of her body, the man will not cheat because that thing is not inside of him. I have said that you cannot be a lizard in Africa and go and be a crocodile in America. It's impossible. What you cannot be today, you will not be tomorrow. The challenge we have in our society today is that people hang their errors on very trivial things.
On others.
Yes, they take people's, as a matter of fact, everybody must look for somewhere to hang his mistake. And nobody claims responsibility of their errors. It is because she did this. That's the reason why I'm doing this. Let me ask you a question. Why didn't you drink poison and die? Because the woman did this thing. Why is it that you are only cheating? The thing should influence you to do other odd things, but you are doing only things that are already inside of you. If you are not drinking poison to die because the woman offended you, why will you cheat because she offended you? It means cheating is something that is inside of you. You are just looking for a circumstance to hang on it. And these are the reasons why people make a lot of mistakes. Secondly, the way she talks to me, she's rude. I see before you ever got married to her, people have not been speaking to you rudely. Your mother has spoken to you rudely. Your brother spoke to you rudely. You did not divorce them. Their teacher spoke to you rudely. You did not run away from school. Now your wife has spoken to you rudely. You want to go and cheat. That cheating is a seed in you. The rudeness of the woman has only come to fan aglow what was inside of you. Because if you commit a mistake without having something to hang on, it will be a shame as a man. So men will always look for somewhere to hang their errors on. So they keep now hanging on the woman's mistakes, of which we have had relationships before I ever got married to with girls who were even worse than the wives we have in the house. And these girls we had in the world had terrible attitudes, but we were able to contain, accommodate them.
We even beg and cry.
Sometimes you beg and even cry, offer gifts, so and we give in order to contain them. But now you are married to a woman, you want to look for where to cheat. You say, and the way she spoke to me, I don't like it. That was what pushed me in another woman's hand. And the way she has grown so fat. Who spoiled her? Who spoiled her? Who made her fat? Is that how she came to your house? No, that's what the problem is. So people should not be using people's disadvantages or mistakes to hang their errors on.
Justify.
They should not justify their mistakes through people's error. It's a very big, fatal, serious mistake. Well, let's consider the fact that what we have to do to remain faithful in our relationships, Mr. Liu, I'm saying it like Madam Esingie said, I'm still repeating it. It has to do with the individual. You see, Paul said, I bring my body under subjection, lest after I have preached the gospel, I be a castaway. In other words, there is something I'm preserving my body. Using all those excuses, I've said it, faithfulness has to do, with the relationship has to do with somebody's conscience, your integrity, your straightforwardness, your fidelity. It has nothing to do with people's errors.
Okay.
It has nothing.
Yes, good evening, Ghana Maina, watching from Uganda, Dudu Losa, neighbor Ambe, good evening to you, Ebong Njume. But you say that, okay, it has nothing to do, you say it is a responsibility.
It's our responsibility.
Yes, but it is a responsibility. You as the man, are you not also supposed to look good for the woman so that she will not always think that other men are better than you?
This thing is
as a woman, don't you think that you should also look good for your husband?
Of course. You see, why
because you give the impression that however she looks, whatever happens, okay.
No.
You're condemned.
No. There are, how do I put it, remote. There are remote causes to some things.
Yeah, but we are looking at what we should do to stay faithful. Should we not also take time to take good care of ourselves, to look good for our husbands and wives?
Of course. I'm saying that those external responsibilities are there, but let us deal with the roots.
We have time.
Yes, we are dealing with the roots. A man who does not have the seed of cheating in him, even if the wife becomes a cripple, he will not find any reason to cheat. I'm saying this very clear. But he that has a seed of cheating in him, that's what I'm talking here. Any abnormality around his environment will be a serious platform or an opportunity for him to pass through to fulfill his natural desires. It is true, a woman's nastiness can make you lose interest in her. That losing interest in her can only repel you from making love to her. It shouldn't push you in the hand of another woman. That is the truth. Because if you know the consequences of cheating, it is far beyond a woman's nastiness. That's what I'm trying to communicate here. Secondly, a woman may not be cooking well, and you stumble into the hand of somebody who cooks very well. Mr. Liu, there are restaurants everywhere. You must not sex where you eat. What the woman doesn't know how to do is cooking, not sexing. Why don't you look for where you will get good food and still come back home and have your wife? That's what I'm talking about. Because somebody say, the way she cooks, I don't like it. I don't like it the way she cooks. And then I met this girl, the girl cooks very well. Is the girl cooking food or sex? That is a simple platform. You are now taking the disadvantage of this woman in the house to hang on and commit what is running in your bloodline.
What about the ladies themselves?
I'm going on this on both sides now. We are talking on both sides. There are also women also who tell that the man does not make love very well. And their ex used to do, because I'm talking as a counselor. People call me from Canada, America, France, everywhere for counseling. Some tell me very deep things. I used to have a relationship with my fiancé. We used to have foreplay and romance before we made love. This my new husband is just telling me that Susanna lie. When I lie, enter a come out. There's no romance, nothing. So I don't feel it. Now, if this girl goes out to cheat, we are going to attach it to the fact that it's because the man does not make love to her very well. Sister, HIV is in cheating. If the man does not satisfy you, are you not running away from HIV?
Yeah, but the question is, should she not also, should the man not also do something to get her better fulfilled or satisfied?
Of course, we are talking about the man improving on that it will not go. She will only just be that route. I'm asking that if you do everything possible within your power to bring that situation under control, and the person does not succumb, is that a platform for you to find solace outside your marriage?
But should you not do something for her to change a bit?
What will you do for her to change a bit? Because if you are going out to cheat because you want to challenge her, that is an error that you are going to face the consequences more than her tomorrow. Because if at all there is a sickness in cheating outside, it will never hold that woman.
Okay.
If somebody has to go to hellfire tomorrow for cheating, it will never fall on that woman. Why should somebody's misbehavior plunge you into better errors of your life?
Please, if you have questions for Apostle Ambe, Valentine, Ngwa on this subject, just send them to me. I'll put them through to him. But let's go back to Bamenda to get the second reaction of Mr. Esingie, Yvette.
Then, in addition to self-control and self-discipline, now couples now can learn to have open communication without pretense, being able to express what you need. So if you can communicate openly that this is what I want, or I don't get satisfied sexually, and this is that, you get to talk about the bed issues openly. You get to talk about any other aspect in life, because you should understand that first, sex comes with a lot of psychological aspects. If you're psychologically not available, if you're psychologically disturbed, there's no way you'll be able to meet up, sexually or have sexual satisfaction. So if we are talking about couples being faithful to act to self-discipline and self-control, couples should learn open communication, being able to talk about everything in their marriage, including bed issues, not being shy about it. I was counseling a couple, and when I got to sex and intimacy, I said, you don't have to make love with when the light is off. The man said, "Ma, tell her," and I'm like, so you don't need to be shy about those things. If it's your husband, she's your wife, you need to be proud of each other's body. The same way, you need to be able to communicate openly. With open communication, with honesty, being honest with what you want, what you need. Sorry, I think the need is the right word here, not want. If you're honest with what you need, tell your spouse, this is how I like it, this is what I need from you when it comes to this. If you're able to share those things honestly, you realize that your spouse will obviously go a long way to help you enjoy your marital sex, which will go a long way to curb unfaithfulness. But if you're not honest, if you pretend, let's say, okay, a lady that is pretending that, oh, she reaches orgasm when they have sex, and then yet she doesn't, she might be looking for other means to reach orgasm. We have a lot of ugly means out there. I don't even want to go there. Sex toys and the rest. So honesty, open communication, being able to say what you need, being honest with what you need. All of these will come to enforce self-discipline, enforce self-control, and help couples to stay faithful to each other. Apart from that, you need to add God into the show. Pray for your spouse, pray for yourself, and pray for yourself.
Pray for yourself and pray for your spouse. Good evening to Mr. Leo. Hello to Apostle Ambe in the studio. I agree with what Apostle is saying. Watching from Tassen and Quen Bomenda, Mr. and Mrs. Kando Clement. Good evening to you guys. Greetings to you all in the studio. Really love your program. It's so educative. It's Esingie Lionel writing from Bomenda also. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Erica watching from Bamenda. Special regards to Apostle Ambe. He always hits the nail on the spot. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I love your program. My regards to Apostle Ambe. I always look forward to Prime R, especially the Tuesday edition. Doris watching from Bamenda. Yes, lots and lots of messages from Bamenda this evening. Apostle Ambe, Valentine Ngwa. But should we both for the man and the woman, not also ensure that our home actually looks like paradise, that is loving, very conducive, smells good, especially very clean, so that we feel as always wanting to be home?
There are two kinds of toxic, Mr. Ro. There's environmental toxic and emotional toxic.
Okay.
The environmental toxic is when a place is unkempt. No man, because the men are the outgoing type, they're the hunters. They go out, look for what the family will eat and all the rest. When a man comes back home, my father used to tell me in those days that the reason why most of the Bakwarians caught the Northwest men in those days was because when they come back, the house is properly kept clean. A man will take his salary and choose to go and stay where the bedsheet is properly arranged, the house is kept clean, and everywhere is decent. They stay there. Every man wants a comfortable, a conducive, a neat environment. That is, if a woman is irresponsible to the extent whereby the house is unkempt, everywhere is scattered, pots are not washed, flies are flying up and down, and then everywhere is nasty. When a man comes back home, such an environment will irritate him. That one is certain. Number two, emotional toxic is when a man steps back home, a woman begins to drop missiles, words that provoke him. As immediately he enters the house, the woman begins to present worries. Instead of trying to encourage the man, welcome him, satisfy him, give him food, the child came from today, there was no school, the water bill is here. Those are toxics. When a man comes back, he's already worn out by the day's job. He doesn't come back to carry another burden again. You as a woman, your responsibility is to throw what's in his heart that can give him courage. Those two things I've mentioned, environmental and emotional toxics, are the things that sometimes scare some men away. Because men, I used to say, they are babies in long trousers. No matter how grown a man is, he needs that care. He needs that concern. He needs that pampering. A girl wrote me today and said, "Sir, if you serve your husband food and he refuses to eat, should you go on begging him?" I say, beg him. Because men are boys in trousers. Men are babies with long trousers. You must go to the extent of begging him. That man will eat that food and may not tell you thank you, but he will go out and tell men that I have a wife. Men don't praise their wives in their presence. It is outside they tell others that forget, after everything, I get woman for house. Another girl wrote on the platform and said, must they pet the man? I said, men are babies in trousers, so do it. You are doing it to secure your home. Don't follow girls who are not yet married and they will fool you and deceive you to do what is not correct. Those are the kind of things that keeps a man around. And the challenge we have also is that when men begin to explain their worries outside, with this generation that women are plenty than men, women will find only those areas where your wife is weak and begin to correct it. A woman that loves you might not tell you she loves you, but when she listens to your story, she will come in that area where your wife has a disadvantage. She will fill that vacuum And then when you begin to compare, because men are very logical in their thinking. Once a man puts two women in his mind, he can be walking and talking with you, but his faculties are comparing and contrasting these two women. This girl is not even my wife, but she has bought me a t-shirt. My wife, since I got married to her, she only collects from me. Has never bothered to buy me even an innerwear, an underwear. Then I think this woman is not good. Then the other person, when I shout, she stays quiet. My wife, if I speak one, she has spoken 10. He begins to compare and contrast in his mind. That vacuum that that woman is creating in that house is enough reason for another woman to walk into that vacuum and feel it, thereby dividing or directing the attention of your husband to the other side. It's the same thing with women. A woman stays in a house, all she gets is insult, all she gets is abuse, all she gets, or whatever she does is never appreciated. Then she's walking somewhere, or there's a neighbor that calls her mommy, darling, I love you. And then she even tries to react contrary, and then sees the man even going more, even humbler to treat her like a queen. The woman begin to put these two men in her mind. My husband has no value for me. He has no respect for me. He has no regard for me. Everything I do. But look at this guy outside here. I'm doing nothing. He's the one that even gives me sweet names with all my disadvantages and my errors. He still loves me and still cares after me. All those things create emotions. These are the things we are talking. Now, if the man does not study that woman very fast and begin to give what this outsider is giving, there is a possibility that there can be an emotional push. And I've said it, affection is not love. Affection is the chemistry that brings two opposite sex together, whether married or unmarried. While love is consciously accepting the good, the bad, and the ugly of an individual. So people can easily have affection anywhere, and affection can lead to cheating.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. My husband puts on a t-shirt for a week without changing it. I have tried all to no avail. What should I do? This is what we were talking about now.
Yes.
Yes, you must consider the what your wife wants. You must please her also, because you say we should, no, the women should pamper the men.
Yes.
The men should also pamper.
It's on both sides.
Yes. How do you
answer that lady, to answer the lady, say the husband puts on a t-shirt
for 1 week.
For 1 week, and she had done everything possible. That's what I was telling you here. That what if the man struggles not to change? Now, is that enough reason for this woman to go and cheat outside because the husband is putting on one t-shirt? We are talking as if to change person is just that easy. That somebody has a bad attitude and walks into your house, is staying with you as a wife or a husband, you think you will just clear a finger like this and it will change. You will speak over that thing for probably 2 to 3 years and it will still remain the same. What do? Do you go and cheat? You cannot go and cheat. There are some people who cause some necessary evils in relationships that you need to adapt to them. Sister, let that incident not make you go and get to a man who puts on 3 t-shirts in 1 day. Don't let it not push you to a man that sprays perfume after every 2 hours. Let it not push you to a man that dresses well because a man does not dress. Because why? The consequences of that cheating is stronger than that t-shirt. In that man you are going outside, you may find HIV. Do you prefer a man that wears 1 t-shirt, or you will prefer a man that wears 3 t-shirts and gives you HIV? Do you prefer a man that wears 1 t-shirt and through him you are going to heaven, or a man that wears 4 t-shirts in 1 hour and through him you are going to hellfire? There is something bigger than the error or you are trying to use to cheat. That's what I'm trying to pass here as a message. Yeah, but there is something bigger.
Yeah, Apostle, I don't think she is saying that she has to go and cheat. Because
no, we are talking about faithfulness here, Mr. Leo. I'm trying to reconcile. I'm not saying that she's cheating. I'm trying to reconcile.
But also tell the man to hearken to the cry of the
best person that could change a man is a wife. If that woman that sleeps with that man.
Say a word now. You can say a word and the man changes.
Definitely, I'm going to talk to the man. I'm going to talk to the man. No, Mr. I'm very hard on this because I understand very well.
Yes.
If I run away from my wife's error to another woman and I carry a disease tomorrow that is incurable,
you bring it to
Mr. Leo, I will bring that sickness back to my wife, and then number 2, I will suffer the consequences of something greater for something minor. I rather prefer rudeness than HIV. You have to be putting this thing on a scale and know which one you want. Sister, do you want dirty t-shirt or HIV?
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo.
Mr. Man, also, please, I'm begging you, try and listen to that woman, oh, because you are psychologically traumatizing her. That is a vacuum or a gap you have created. The enemy can strike through that gap. The day somebody will dress her and spray perfume, she will start seeing the husband in that man. It's delicate. It's very, very delicate.
Say what to the man?
That's why I'm talking to the man, that he is creating a vacuum.
Decrease something.
When a woman starts complaining on something, please,
man of God, decrease something.
in the name of Jesus, brother, whatever is tormenting you to put on one t-shirt for a week will deliver you. There are also men that put on underwears. You wear one pants for 1 week. I mean, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. These are things we are treating with marriage couples almost every day. But let me tell you, cheating,
it's not the best.
It's not the best.
Good evening, Mr. Liu and Apostle Ambe. My question is that how can someone go to hell because of cheating? Does it mean that what Christ did was not more than cheating? Please know that I'm not in any way supporting cheating. This is Evangelist Vicky from Bamenda. Where, Evangelist, why are you?
Is that what?
How can someone go to hell because of cheating? That's, you are sinning now, because when you cheat, you either do fornication or it's adultery. Especially for those who are married, it's adultery now. So it's sin. Mr. Noel from Mutenge and Mr. Liu, I love your program, and thanks to Pa for his advice. Okay, especially our brother in Bamenda, please change that t-shirt. Apostle Ambe, I called you cafe. You are the real marriage counselor. Thank you. Paddy Brown, the best teller in Bamenda town. Good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm really enjoying your program. More courage and grace. Claudette is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to you, Claudette. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. I have a question for my father, Apostle Ambe Valentine. Apart from a few men who are truly born again and the men who can actually stay glued to just their wives in marriage, because seriously, what we are outside shows that not up to 5% of men in this world are faithful. Marie is writing from Boya. Okay, Marie thinks that but you said that.
I said it.
Yeah, that.
I said it, Marie. I said it. I said it. Initially, when we started, I said that we are talking the rule, not the exception. Okay. Yes, most men cheat. Most men cheat.
Few women cheat.
Yeah, very few women to cheat. Many women to cheat. As a matter of fact, women are even overtaking men these days.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Please tell Apostle Ambe I would like to have his number because I need his help and counseling. Thanks. Paul is writing from Douala. But please, want to advise us when we call men of God for counseling, we should also remember them. We should pay something so that we can attach value to the advice that we have received from them. Apostle Ambe, I'm sending you his number. But when you call, please, if you want to take the advice or whatever is going to tell you serious, call him, book for an appointment, even say, I want to pay for this. When you pay for something, yes, you attach more value to it. So he is always going to be available for counseling. He's been doing that already. Good evening to you all. This is Gabila Ebel watching from Douala. Just wish to let you know that not only men cheat, women do. What couples should do to stay faithful is to engage in frank communication. Being honest is the key. Tell your spouse how you feel about everything and how you think it can be improved. Okay? But Apostle Ambe Valentine, Ngwa, let me take this one. Alcatraz writing from Limbe says, agree upon trusting one another. Once you have taken your vows, don't do anything to break that trust. Accept the fact that you are no longer single. No, you may not come and go as you please. No matter how much that may rankle, you have a responsibility to your spouse partner now, and the sooner you accept it, the fewer fights and arguments you have. Acting as if you are free and accountable to no one will pretty much ensure that you will be single again soon. Instead, keep in mind your love for your spouse and the love your spouse has for you. This is an aspect I was going to bring up in the course of the program, but getting married is something else. It's a new status that we acquire, and that we must learn to live in that status, and not being in a status and wanting to live in the status of a single person.
When we say getting married is a new status we acquire, and we don't want to live in the state of a single person, is a single person permitted to go about sleeping women? It's not permitted. Also.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes, it's not permitted. The truth is the nature of man. We must accept these realities. Ephesians chapter 5 says the works of the flesh. There's nothing good about the flesh.
Okay.
The works of the flesh is adultery, fornication, lasciviousness, licentiousness, witchcraft. I mean, all those things put together. What that scripture is saying, that the raw material was used to create this man, this thing called man, is a material that is loaded with the passions and desires of the flesh. Once you marry, you don't become wood, you are still flesh. We are talking as if the new status in marriage changes a man from flesh to plastic. We are talking as if the new status in marriage changes him from flesh to wood. Every feeling, tendencies, passions, cravings you had as a single man, you will still have it as a married man. Because, oh God should help me able to break down this thing. A man who is not married has the same feelings, cravings, passions, affections like somebody who is married. The only thing that the man's status has changed from a single man or a bachelor to a married man. Every other thing is still in place. So don't assume that because you are married, some hormones in your system automatically go for leave. Some elements in your system just disappear. It's a lie. If you become a father and you give birth to children, because I hear somebody say, even a father like him, seriously speaking, that father is that boy who has given birth to a child. A husband like him, that husband is the same boy who has just changed status in getting married. Every tendencies in that boy is in that father, is in that husband. So what boys can do, fathers can do, husband can do. But when we hear the name husband, we say, if you've been a single boy, it will be understood.
So boys drink.
Yes.
Boys.
Men, husbands drink. Fathers drink.
They do all those things.
They do all those things. As a matter of fact, the father is an advanced stage of the boy. The husband is a transformed stage of the boy. So you have just changed stage. Your elements have not changed. So when you hear somebody say, and then to some extent they say, a man of God too, that man of God is that boy you saw yesterday who has just added God to his life. So whatever you see a single man do, a married man can do, a father can do. The reason why fathers and married men sometimes go to the extent of putting all barrier measures is because their status has changed, not the tendency in discipline. Because you are trying to protect your new status. You are trying to protect this name called father. You want to protect the name called husband. But the elements in you are still the same. So let us not think that because a man has assumed the status of a father, he cannot do what he used to do as a boy. It's an error. It's an error. So if we talk about people doing everything possible not to cheat, it has to do with what you want to protect. There is an image you have built. There is a name you have built. You want to protect that name. You want to keep that name. That's the reason why you're going the extra mile. And also, we will not talk in the area of cheating without mentioning prayers.
Yeah, we are going to
because it helps.
We're going to be looking at that we have to pray for one another.
Yes, it helps.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Very happy on the topic of today. I think the foundation of relationship determines the future of the relationship. This evening, I was just chatting with some brother and some ladies and auntie brother, and said it is not good to have separate accounts in marriage. And of the lady just rejected it that she can never venture to share her account with the husband, And all this to me is the way they start their foundation. Okay, Def writing from Bomono. Good evening to you, Def from Bomono out there. Good evening, my Media Prime. I really appreciate the program. I have learned a lot. My home is breaking loose because of lack of communication. What can you do to a man who values outsiders than his wife? He prefers to carry his issues outside than discussing it with you. Okay, that is also an important point. I'm sure Apostle Ambe is going to be talking about the importance of communication in the house. Good evening, Mr. Liu. What can you do to a man who loved you and showed you so much attention but changed out of a sudden this behavior, his actions, like he doesn't show the same behavior like before? At times he behaves like he loves you but later on changes like nothing happens. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I really need help from Apostle Ambe. Can you please help me with his number? When you call him, please, I've sent you the number. Please, when you call Apostle Ambe, do it professional. Don't do it because you are seeing him talking with Mr. Liu here now. Do it professional. Go to him for counseling. He's going to talk to you and assist you. We're going to take a short break to continue after.
Et si c'était moi le king des fêtes, Orange en met plein la vue. 500 Smart TV à gagner au dièse 111 étoile 1 dièse ou via l'appli My Orange. Orange. Soyez le king des fêtes avec Orange. Souscrivez au dièse 111 étoile 1 dièse ou via l'appli My Orange et tentez de gagner 15 voitures, 500 Smart TV et 5000 francs toutes les 5 minutes. Orange.
There's nothing more magical than spending good times with the family during the holidays. So, join Canal Plus and let's spend the holidays together. To welcome you, the decoder is 5,000 francs and installation offered with many channels.
Ça sera la musique ou rien.
C'est tout.
What to love?
Nous avons un duel Afrique de l'Ouest, Afrique centrale.
Dance and ignite your event.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime on my Media Prime, and this evening we are looking at what couples should be doing to remain faithful to one another so as to curb the alarming divorce rates that we are witnessing out here. But Apostle Ambe, Valentine Ngwa, someone just wrote an issue that the husband always takes the issues out there. She decries the fact that there is not enough communication amongst them. But you raised also this issue of nagging.
Yes.
It could drive either
the man or the woman, both sides. You see, the word nagging most of the time is attributed most of the times to women. See, but they are nagging men. People's upbringing influence their attitude in marriage.
Okay.
A man who was mommy's boy will want the wife to play the role of mommy. And women are not mommies. Women are wives. You came from a house where your mother saw nothing wrong with your attitude. Your mother promoted every nonsense you did. Your mother took you as a pet. Your mother defended even your worst attitude. And then you carry the attitude from your mother's house. And you meet a woman who is focused, unbroken, disciplined, and very strict. Not strict against you, but strict in pursuing her dreams. And she cannot contain this, your naughtiness, because there are men, no matter how they mature and grow beards, they still remain mommy's boys. And you marry a man who keeps saying, my mother said, I'm going to ask my mother what she's going to say, because I've seen men right in their homes, their mothers still influence them. That is to let you know that he's been a mommy's boy from home, right to his own house, he's still mommy boy, mommy's boy. A woman now you are married to does not have the tendencies of mommy. He doesn't give you the attention. He doesn't give you the petting. You do rubbish and you want him to do this, want her to do the same thing your mother was doing, and she doesn't pay attention. Now you call it nagging. That is not nagging. That's a naggy man. Now the man will start going out. People will think that because the woman has a bad attitude, not knowing that the woman is not mommy. The woman cannot give you what mommy used to do. The woman cannot accommodate your errors. The woman will point your mistakes. The woman will rebuke your errors in order to make you grow better in life. But not your mother who accommodated and took every rubbish you brought. That is another case. In that case, they will say the woman is naggy. The woman is a man who is naggy because the man is childish, the man is naughty, the man is not matured. One of the signs you see from men who grew up like that are people who do not have the courage to sit down and talk with their wives. They carry things outside. They go and tell people outside, my wife is doing this, my wife is doing that, my wife is doing this. Listen, if a woman stays in a house and complains that you as a man, you cannot sit her down to advise her, because from scriptures, a man does not meet his mother. It's a woman that meets a father. They say, a man shall leave his father and mother and be cleaved to his wife. The woman does not leave father and mother. It's a man that lives. Because a man is living to become a father. The woman is coming to meet another father. That's why she does not live. A man shall leave his father and mother. So in marriage, it is actually men that become independent. The woman comes to meet another father. A woman should not come to meet another father and then see the act of a child. She will give you the attitude of a mother because you are acting as a child. And a man who does not know how to, because normally it's a man that sits a woman and tell her that this is a project for now. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're not supposed to do. I don't like this attitude. I don't like attitude. But if you're unable to sit down and confront a woman, then you are a boy. It was Dr. William who said that I got married at the age of 24 as a boy. He said boys don't get married. It is a man that leaves his father and mother, not a boy that leaves his father and mother. Because boys get married for sex, men get married for purpose. If it was erection that took you behind that girl, then know that you got married as a boy. But if you saw a dream to accomplish, then you got married as a man. Now, if a woman meets a boy, she will treat her as a son. If she meets a man, she will submit to him as a father. So there are many women who are sitting in the same roof with boys. That's why they are giving the boy the attitude of a mother. Even though it is a big boy with beards on his chin in the name of a husband, the tendencies in him are the manifestation of a boy. When a woman meets a real man who is a father, nobody will tell her to submit. Because a father is somebody who takes charge. How can you be in a house you cannot discuss with your wife and you are carrying issues outside? You are married to a boy with a suit of a man. This is where people have to understand. Because sometimes you say the woman is nagging. No woman that sees a child will not act as a mother. So I'm asking you in that house, are you a man who is a father to your wife? Or you are a boy whom your wife is a mother to you? If your wife is a mother to you, she'll always want to control you. Because why? Your attitude, your behavior, your character does not show like somebody who is in command. Men are known. Immediately you walk into a house, your wife knows you're a man. Because you're the one that is in charge. You influence activities, the way you talk, the way you relax. She can be jittery over some things. The way you relax a man, she will know that this man is in charge. That gives you your fatherhood authority. Because authority is demonstrated, it's not preached. But if at every single instance you run to your mother to tell her things, the woman will say, I'm married to a boy, a child. So I have to treat this man as a son because he is not a man. So when we keep saying that women are nagging and nagging, we should be able to balance the equation when a woman who is a mother meets a boy of a husband and when a man who is a father meets a daughter of a wife. Yes.
Okay, but the other way around now. There are some women who truly nag, eh?
Yeah, why? That's what I'm saying now, Mr. Leo.
There are some women who truly
There are women who nag. That's what I'm saying, that the issue of nagging is not just a woman's affair.
There are some men who do
Acknowledge that equally men who are supposed to be like father, but they are like boys. Maybe they got married for sex. Because boys get married for sex, men get married for purpose.
So women, please don't carry your issues out there.
Don't take it out. Men don't take it out because women talk their matters in their house.
So to ensure that you remain faithful, it means that you are faithful to your wife. Let the information stay
in the house. Because
the woman also is faithful.
Let the information stay at home. That faithfulness we are talking about, it looks like only the plate of sex. Carry information in the house outside some faithfulness.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thanks for the nice program. Extend my greetings to Apostle Ambe, who is writing from Bengui, headquarters of Momo Division. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Apostle Ambe, what about a woman whom, when you want to give directions and she says you didn't send her to school? Okay. Yes, we get some of those.
That's a naggy woman.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm really enjoying the program. Please, how can you deal with a cheating husband without being disrespectful so that he can change? Ambe is writing from Kong Samba. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the wise men in the studio. Absence of communication creates vacuum and suspicion in marriage. Today is our second anniversary in marriage, and I thank God for giving me a loving wife. Special love to you, Mrs. Wala Jovlin. Derek Wala writing from Chang. Good evening to you. Congratulations, Apostle, for that statement. Okay, good evening to you. Apostle has gotten. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and our able man in the studio with you. To me, I think that for everyone to be repeatedly using a particular thing, like that girl complaining about the lover putting on a t-shirt for over a week because of poverty. I'm saying all this because there is no reason being that can be a rich man and deny to change his t-shirt always. And every man or every reasonable man would always like to be the apple of all eyes in the eyes of his wife. Thanks very much for this interesting topic. Ebonge Dixon is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Dikalo. Please, I wish to have the apostle's number. Need more of his counseling. Okay, Claudette is writing from Yaoundé. Claudette, I've just sent your apostle's number. Please, when you call him, do it professionally. Please, Mr. Liu, for apostles Ambe's number. Okay, good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's Ngome Nelson from Sang Melima, a vibrant listener and follower of Prime. There is no particular aspect or thing a person can do to stay faithful if it is not from the heart, because people change every second. Good evening to Apostle Ambe. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Beautiful. I'm a good cook. I'm very good in bed. I respect my husband, yet he cheats. So what can he be looking for? Apostle Ambe, you see, she has everything that a man, yes, may be looking out, but the husband still cheats. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I want to appreciate the apostle for such great insight. The truth in life is people may be very good counselors, but that does not mean they are perfect in living the life they propose during counseling. Mr. Liu, most of the advice you give people during crisis, I bet you can't take them from others when faced in the same crisis. That's why pastors preach and falter on the same thing they preach. Lawyers defend the law, yet commit the crime. Only you can determine who you are or want to become. And your company in life matters a lot. Tiku Felix writing from Boya. Tiku Felix, what are you saying? That the counselors should not do their job or what? Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thanks for this program. And I and my wife are enjoying Apostle. It's Mr. Kenneth writing from Bamenda. Yes, we have had many testimonies. People have changed their lives from watching this program. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I really appreciate your program, and I do not always miss out your topics, especially when it concerns relationships. Special greetings to Apostle Ambe Valentine. He really inspires me in all the topics. This program, Prime. However, on the topic of today, please, I wish to ask our apostle, what if you get married without premarital counseling, and each time the woman is corrected, even in private, she really gets angry and says you should take her the way she is. She is really not focused even in the agreements you people had before getting married. Please, what can one really do to succeed in this kind of marriage? Cyril, writing from Yaoundé. I'm sure there are many persons who have written similar. Yeah.
Yes, when you get married, first and foremost, without pre-marital counseling, or you did not court before getting married, that's already an error. The foundation of the building is wrongly positioned, because there are attitudes you only discover later when you're already married legally. Secondly, and you try to see, because there's something we call catch-up. If you try to catch up in the course of the relationship, you have to put some things together, and the woman refuses, you accept her the way she is. There are two ways to handle such an issue. There are draconian measures you have to put in place, because if at all she values the relationship and she wants to stay in the relationship, then she also has to work on her own part to keep the relationship going, because marriage does not work with the effort of an individual. It is absolutely impossible. It takes two persons to keep a relationship running. If a woman throws the weight of the relationship on a man, I bet you the man will carry it at a certain distance and the man will not be able to continue. And if the man throws it on the woman, it will reach at a certain level and not be able to continue. There's an illustration Archbishop Duncan William gave during a program when he was teaching a marriage, and he asked the couple, the man, to sit on a chair. The woman sat on the man's leg, and then for some time, it was so unbearable. They asked the man, can you carry? The man said, I cannot. And then the man stepped down. The woman now sat on the man's leg for some time. And they said she cannot carry. Just how he said, in a relationship, there's a time the man carries the woman along, and there's a time the woman carries the man along. If the man carries the woman completely and continuously at a particular level, he will fail. If a woman is doing nothing, I mean absolutely nothing on her part to better a relationship, it means she has given the entire responsibility to make the relationship work upon the shoulder of the man. Such a relationship cannot last. That woman should be working on her attitude, because she is sitting on a time bomb. Even God himself does nothing without man's collaboration. Man cannot do what God cannot do. Secondly, if that girl does not do something with that relationship, a time will come where that man will get fed up and abandon the relationship. You cannot hold him, because why? He has carried the burden for so many years. Marriage is a shared responsibility on both parties. Even Ecclesiastes 4 says, when one falls, two are better than one, for they have a good reward for their labor. When one falls, one holds the other up and the other falls. So sometimes it is a man that sacrifices, sometimes it's a woman. Sometimes it's a man that forbears, sometimes it is a woman. Sometimes it's a man that accommodates, sometimes it is a woman. I was asked in a marriage conference I was speaking in Chicago, and they asked me and they said, when it comes to switching roles in marriage, who is a breadwinner? I said the word breadwinner has been tagged a masculine word. It is an error of monumental proportion. The word breadwinner is not a masculine word. The word breadwinner is a neutral word. Anybody who is capable at a particular moment in a marriage is a breadwinner for that particular period of time. So it shouldn't be as if it is a word made for male. When I said there, the whole place went into one clap, and then they were celebrating. Why? This is because we have tagged the word breadwinner to be something of the male factor, which is an error of monumental proportion. That's the truth. Okay. So let the woman also make sure that she carries a burden of that relationship like that, because the man cannot carry it throughout.
Okay. And vice versa.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We are addressing the case of the woman you asked there. That is, the woman says that she take her like that. Yes, okay. They don't take people like that.
Cheating is a thing of bloodline, environment, circumstances reinforce the urge. Those men and women who managed two or more girls and boys in celibacy will possibly creep into marriage with the techniques. Apostle Ambe, may God continue to increase you in wisdom. Sue. Remy, good evening to you. Glad to know that you are also watching this evening. Apostle, we're talking about giving marriage its priority. That is, men and the wife are also supposed to take both parties as priority of in the marriage, if they have to stay together and not cheat, because today increasingly the men spend most of the time on social media in a world of their own. The wife does the same in her world, and then there is this gap. And in navigating through social media, there is always a tendency to discover.
Stumble across, yeah. That's true. We are in the jet age, and it's very, very delicate sometimes to manage relationships now. We used to say the marriages before now were more successful than now, because the evolution of things caused marriages today to actually fail. A man cannot be in a relationship with a woman and he's present somewhere else, mentally, emotionally, while he's sitting close to a woman and the woman cannot reach him. Likewise, a woman cannot also be in a relationship and she's present somewhere else. A friend of mine came from Sweden, got married to the fiancé who came from Enam, and I said I should take them out and give them supper. We went to a snack. I ordered for food and drinks. While they were eating, I was on my phone talking and chatting. The guy got so bitter. I mean, so bitter. He told me that this is not done. It's not done anywhere. Say not done anywhere. How can you invite me and my wife and you spend your whole time on your phone? I was so ashamed because he embarrassed me in the snack. He told me that that's not an attitude. I switched off my phone. I dropped. He told me that when we are done here, you can go and talk with all those people you want to talk to. You came here to spend time with me and my wife. My wife was sitting close too. I took her out. I took him out, the wife, with my wife. And my wife told me that, have you seen it? He said, this is the same thing you do in the house. When you stay on your phone, you are sitting close to me, but your mind and your emotion is far away from me. In this jet age, social media has broken homes more than devil. This social media like this has destroyed more homes than the devil itself. I'm telling you, it's very serious.
You cheat in the presence of your wife.
You are cheating in the presence of your wife. You are talking and sharing love words, exchanging sweet words with a lover in the presence of your wife. Those are the things that you are already cheating. You must not go to bed with somebody and undress yourself and have sex before you know you are cheating.
And everybody has a password to their phone.
Everybody has a password to their phone. The man has a password. The woman has a password to their phone.
The cheating is no longer done out there. It's done inside the house.
It's done inside the house. It's right there. It's right there. People are sitting with their fiancés or sitting with their husband. They are receiving nude pictures from people from the other side. That's how bad things are. So we are talking about the social media syndrome. It's very, very bad. It has affected a lot of homes these last days. That's the truth.
So people should actually create time for each other.
They should create time for each other. As a matter of fact, after every hustle and bustle of the day, you have to come back home and sit with your husband or your wife, talk things out, eat together, watch TV together, and then share ideas together. At least your phone should be kept aside once in a while, and then you talk things out. Sometimes you can take your wife out, because I do that. I take my wife out.
Yeah, that's it. We have the tendency of we are now married now.
No.
I'm married. You are married, and the wife is at home. You're enjoying life with others outside there.
As a matter of fact, your wife becomes a better girlfriend when you are married. The outings you could not have with her when she was far away. Now she's very near to the raw material. So you should take her one time out for production.
Take her to Deka Hotel.
Take her to Deka Hotel. Take her to Aqua Palace. Take her to Sawa Hotel. Take her to Delis for breakfast. Take her to other places and sit down. I mean, get out of the inconvenience of the house. Sometimes go to the hotel and spend some time there, sleep together, talk things out, both of you, and then you come back home. Because you are now better friends and you're closer. That's it. I go for programs sometimes with my wife. It's another way of going me for picnic. I take my wife to go to conferences to speak. The hotel bills and everything that they pay, me and my wife spend together. That's how it is.
Some persons think that they are married to husbands that they cannot show off with, and they are also married to wives that they cannot show off with, and then have the tendency to want to identify with either some more successful and handsome-looking men, or for beautiful and successful literate women. Meanwhile, maybe your wife is manages in this in a market. That is, we should make it a conscious habit to consider our wives, whatever they are doing, clean them up,
of course,
show off with them, and same for the men, for the women.
The women also. You see, the challenge you have is, do not marry what you cannot freely, expressly, joyfully carry in public.
Okay.
Stop buying a pig in a bag.
Very important.
Yes. Don't marry, I repeat, don't marry a woman you will not be bold enough to sit with her somewhere, to talk with her. Why do you marry her? Do you have any other reason for marrying a man if you cannot spend the rest of your life with her? Spending the rest of your life with somebody means you take her to functions, you take her to for outings, you take her to different places. Why do you marry somebody you cannot probably carry out, except the woman was forced on you by the family? Like what they do some young men these days. The mother will insist. A girl wrote me and said, if she has refused to get married to a man, the mother is insisting that she must get married to the man. I told her that it is you that will live with that man, not your mother.
Okay. Agu Regel Tembe, good evening to you. Agbo Tambe Ferino, good evening to you. Isabella Tenwa, and to you, Kume Isamba, watching from South Africa. This advice should go to both the men now. If the woman has the money, please feel free to take your guy out there.
Yes, of course.
It should not only be the role of the husband to taking their...
It goes back to what I said about breadwinner. Breadwinner is not a masculine word. But the African society has given that word breadwinner to the man. A woman also supposed to manifest gestures. The Bible says honoring one another. Honoring is far from respect. Honor has to do with gifts. Honor has to do with substance. So when they say honor one another, the man should not be the only person buying gowns for the woman. The woman should also buy trousers and suits for the man. That's how it is.
Yeah, but is there also need, Apostle Ambe, for both parties to also reduce their exposure to temptations? Because you are the one who talked about the fact that we are flesh now.
Of course.
Yes. Are there certain things, certain places, certain activities that we should not expose ourselves to, so as to reduce the possibility for us to fall into temptation, like we pray every day?
You see this phone that the white man created, it has a manual. And inside that manual, it has guidelines. Don't allow it to fall in water. Don't bring it close to the fire. Don't do this, don't do this. Those are all precautions given to you to protect it. If you take this phone into water, it will get bad. Not because the phone was destined to get bad, but because you did not follow the instructions on the manual. The word of God is a manual for man. This man you see like this, the word of God. God says, flee. He didn't say pray against adultery. He didn't say pray against fornication. He says flee fornication. David committed adultery because of what he saw, not what he heard. You can't hear about a woman and desire. It's what you see. If you give opportunity for your eyes to see what your flesh desires, you will go after it. He said David stood upon the balcony of his house, and when he sighted Bathsheba taking her bath, David said, whose daughter is that? He said, it is the wife of Uriah the Hittite. He said, bring her to me now. It was what he saw. If David did not see, he will not. Job on his part in Job 31 says, I have made a covenant with my eye that I will not behold a maid. Behold means I will not take a critical observation of her hips, her round legs, her buttocks, and her pointed breast. If you look at those things, you'll be carried away. Those are precautions. You don't stay in a house with a house help, and then she's dressing in a manner, and then you as a man, you don't call the girl to caution, or the woman who is in the house does not bring the girl to order. It's going to be very, very dangerous. Because when a man has erection, the erection gives sometimes the man direction. And when he's erected, he begins to go towards the direction where the erection is coming from. And that's the reason why these temptations are supposed to be avoided. It is very possible now that with the image I have built in the society, I have to be very careful. Because it is easier for me to fall in the hand of a woman if I give myself that closeness. I have to do everything possible to put... There is no Superman anywhere. This is a point I have to make. That I am anointed, that I'm called of God, there's no Superman. there's supposed to be some strict measures put in place. That one has nothing to do with your wife. It has to do with you. You have to be responsible enough to know what is good for you and what is bad for you. If you cannot get up one day and drink acid and die, you should be able to understand that you should not get up one day also and join another woman. Because those are measures you have to put around your life because you know where you are going to. So you say it was a temptation. Somebody say the act of cheating is too long to be called a mistake.
Yes, but the women also need to guard themselves now.
Yeah, the women equal. I say the act of cheating, both male and female, is too long to be called a mistake. That you talk to a woman, you convince her, you move to a hotel, you remove your... The process is too long to be called a mistake now, Mr. Leo. That's a conscious mistake. The act of cheating is too long to be called a mistake.
It's temptation.
What temptation? The act of cheating is too long to be called a mistake.
Apostle, some men are very adventurous.
Yes.
They want to discover what is in there. Some women also are very adventurous.
Yes.
That is why you need to guard. The Bible says what would cause
your hand to sin, chop it off. Your eyes to sin, you chop it off.
We should do that also now, as husbands and wives now.
Yes, put measures now. Mr. Lowe, forgetting what the Bible says, don't you have principles that guide you? Is there a particular profession in this life that does not have deontologies? Journalism has deontologies, and that's what you are maintaining here, peace journalism. You don't come to the platform to cause uproar, upheaval, chaos everywhere. You do everything possible to control the moderator, the panelists, to make sure that they dispense information that can add grace to the society, not to stir up violence. That's the deontology of profession. You must have life principles. Anybody without any life principles will end up like a trash.
It's like an animal now.
Of course. That's the reason why if you go to the medical field, they have deontologies. You go to the field of the law, they have you go to journalism. So you must have life principles also that guides you. Your mantras, there are mantras that guide you.
Okay. This writing from Kumba says, good evening, Mr. Leo, and to all. Communication helps a lot in marriage. See your spouse as that loyal friend in which you can confide always, and you need not keep secrets from. Mr. Leo, thanks for this topic. I'm learning a lot. Thank you to Daisy for participating from Cape Town, Chief Town of Meme Division. Hi, Mr. Leo. I'm enjoying the program this evening with a packet of popcorn. Apostle Ambe is loaded and is doing good to our community. Walters writing from Victoria in Limbe. Good evening in the studio. There is no particular algorithm for marriage. Every marriage has its unique problems. Every marriage counselor gives advice based on his or her marriage life. The problem will always come. The only solution is to let love be the bond between the couple. Luis is writing from Limbe too. Good evening to you guys. I'm enjoying the program. Please, Apostle Ambe, help me tell my husband the advantages of taking your wife out. He hardly takes me out. Meanwhile, I really like outings. Tell him, I beg, he is sitting right here with me. Britta is writing from Pamenda. Good evening, Mr. Leo. My regards to you at the studio. I pray for more inspiration, Apostle, for this deliverance. Many people are getting more in the name of love. After some time, they go apart. Where is that love, Apostle? Please let your partner be your best friend. Let's go for test of love in 1 Corinthians 13, 1-11. God bless you all and your family and your fancy. Ndango Vasco, writing from Balangi. Okay, Balangi should be after Moyoka. Good evening. Marriage is friendship. If you don't feel comfortable with a particular person that you can freely go with everywhere as a friend, then don't marry her. Reverend Tinka is writing from the United States of America. Hello, Mr. Leo, thank you for the program. Good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I love your program, especially when Apostle Ambe is on board. More grace to him. Is Miss Ade writing from Limbe. Good evening. The bloom of youth is a very important word. If a man has not passed the age of sexual appetite, he will cheat in his marriage. Let youth take their time before getting married. If not, divorce will come like pure water. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu, and the wise man in the house. Your program is a blessing to us newly married. Derek, writing from Douala. Okay, Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa, we're talking about these issues of staying together so that we don't fall into temptation of cheating, either as the man or the woman. But this issue of not taking our wives out, we used to take them out when we were courting them now. We're throwing corn. What happens?
Mr. Liu,
we feel comfortable taking the ladies we date out and not our wives.
I have said and I'm still repeating it. Being romantic has nothing to do with your cultural background or your education.
Okay.
It has to do with your interaction. Where you grow will determine if you're going to be romantic or not. You are not born being romantic. You only study to become romantic. There are people who have grown in environments, they know nothing about romance. And I do not blame them for that.
Okay.
Because they did not decide where to grow. Remember, your environment shapes your thoughts. Your thoughts shapes the amount of knowledge you have, and your knowledge shapes your actions. So people's environment shapes their thoughts, and their thoughts shape the knowledge they have, and then equally the actions. So if a man grows in a community where all he knew was to get up in the morning, go to the farm, come back, or go to school, come back, help the mother in the farm, or he picks bread, goes to the road and sell, he's not in an environment where people buy flowers and give to their fiancés, people write love letters and give to their fiancés, people buy gifts and give to their fiancés, people take their fiancés out. Such a person does not have that culture in him. And he grows like that tomorrow and he gets married to a woman who has grown from that angle. The only way to teach people something is to be an example to it. Yeah. You must discipline people. Some people think that discipline is a very draconian word. Discipline is not the very wicked word, not a hard word. Discipline is from the word discipleship. You discipline people by living what you want them to live. That's discipleship. I discipline my son not by flogging him with a cane. I discipline my son by living the way I want him to live. So I disciple him into what I want him to become. So if a woman gets married to somebody who is not romantic, it is very easy for you to start taking the man out. Show him that this is how things are being done without even telling him that that's how it is done, because men are naturally arrogant. If you tell him that, you know something because of men, they are too flippant. Instead of trying to correct the man in humility, they will add pride to it. The man don't even know nothing, no concern life. You didn't even carry me go out. The man did not grow in that kind of environment. So what do? A lady called me once and said, "Sir, my husband does not know anything concerning sex at all." I said, so I said, "You who know everything concerning sex, what have you done?" He said, "Let me do what now?" I said, "Listen, the best way to teach people is to act for them to copy." Most of the times, it is the man that engages the issue of sex. Most women believe that when they demand sex from a man, it reduces their status or makes them look like a prostitute. Madam, you are making a mistake. You are making a very serious mistake. You are a married woman, and that man belongs to you. He cannot look you any less because you also have feelings. Now, how do you transform a man who is not romantic? Let's talk in the place of sexual. The man comes, meets you and says, "Remove your dress," and then he lies there. You are the ones to initiate the sex, and initiate it in such a way that you want him to copy it. Start by caressing him, romancing him, tickling him, and then from there, he can copy it. You will realize that as the days are going by, he will technically and unconsciously be copying what you are doing because you have taken silent actions to teach him rather than insulting him. That's the problem.
Okay, this one says, what should I do when my wife doesn't want me to carry her during the act? Okay, you're writing from Tassen in Bamenda. Oops, the message is... Good evening, Mr. Liu and all in the studio. I think it takes a lot of self-discipline to remain faithful to your partner. Prudence is writing from Yaoundé. Eli, please, I just sent you a picture. Let me know when it's ready. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your program and I love gifts, and my husband don't give me gifts. And I also like going out for leisure, but my husband will always complain of not having petrol only on Sundays when I say we should go out. What should I do? But this issue of going out, Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa, some people think that you must have money to go out. Yes, 1,000 francs saving. For example, if you were living around Bonamusa here, you could live with your wife. You just sit somewhere around Santa Lucia, just out there. You stroll in the quarter, and you sit out there. You take a coke, both of you, and you stroll back to the house. For many persons who are living in Limbe, you have couples who are living in Limbe. Why not just walk down to Down Beach? Just sit there, both of you, and discuss.
Yes, talk.
And from there, you stroll back to the house. In Boya, there are places you could stroll to. There are many places. Walk down to Tole.
Yes.
See the beauty.
Most of all, the beauty of the tea estate.
Of the tea estate. If you're in Bamenda, there are very beautiful places in Bamenda.
Yes.
Yes, just walk up towards upstation. You see the beauty of the city down there, and it doesn't require much money.
No,
you could buy biscuits for yes, you could buy biscuits for 200.
You don't need money.
And you are enjoying. And just
what is outing? What is outing in the first place? That's what we should be defining here. Outing is a leisure trip, just for leisure, and the leisure now varies with what you have in your hand.
You must not go and eat chicken for 6,000.
It's the soya for 200. Two of you hold your hands in the street and stroll somewhere. You buy roasted maize. You buy roasted maize and plum. You eat. You go to a soya joint, you buy yourself for 100 francs, you eat. That movement, you are talking and strolling, talking about your future, holding your hands and swinging together as two lovebirds in the street, talking about even the children in the house. Remember some fun time in the house done by the children if you have children, or remember some other memorable moments. You talk and you laugh together. It releases a kind of tension in the atmosphere.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the entire panel. I really appreciate your program. It has done a lot to me. I would love to have Apostle Ambe's number so that I can talk with him on some private issues. But when you call him, please be professional. Actually, if you are watching us from Bamenda this evening and you think that your relationship needs healing, it needs a revival, please don't miss this opportunity to be part of this program. Can we have it on the screen there? This program is coming up in Bamenda on the 19th of December 2021, Couples End of Year Party. It is hosted by Miss Esingie Yvette, who is always taking part on this edition of all the editions of Prime R from Bamenda. She's going to be hosting that Couples End of Year Party. That is going to be another avenue for you to revive your marriage, your relationships. So please take that rendezvous. You can contact me or you contact her if you are living in Bamenda, so that you enjoy, get new lessons on what is required for you guys to have a turnaround in whatever you are doing out there in Bamenda. Thank you. We were talking about this issue of taking persons out.
Yes.
Yes, very, very, very important.
Yes, it is very important.
Buying gifts. Yes, a gift must not cost 10,000 now.
No. Mr. Lowe, when I was still a student, I used to go visit girls. What do I buy? A flower for 1,000. A rose. The value of the gift is not the cost. The value of the gift is not the cost of the gift. It's the sacrifice you put behind it. As a young man, as a student, if you spend 1,000 francs to buy a lady flower, at the level where you are, it's a cost. What can be a cost to you can be changed to me. That's the value. You buy deodorant or roll-ons, it's 1,000 francs. You pass it and you give to you. That concern that you can go to somewhere, sit and think of me until you get a gift, it means I am part of your agenda. A woman just wants to know that you are part, she is part of your agenda, your daily routines. Sometimes a simple call can make a woman's day. It is these little gestures. Well, God helped some of us before he arrested us to come to the kingdom. Before we ever came to the kingdom, we used to do. Let's not even go there. Okay,
but this issue of also taking our wives out is very important. Many men would love to go to several places without ever going with their wives. Are they ashamed of them?
That's the error.
And some wives also would not want to go with their husbands to certain circles.
The truth is, for women who do not go with their husband in certain circles, I think it's very rare. It's very, very rare. Because the man may not be of the standards that the woman's friends, husbands are. Should be ashamed. But for the men, most of the times their wives are qualified, beautiful, well-dressed, civilized, decent, well-educated.
Like the lady who wrote.
But sometimes,
she's beautiful,
yes,
she does everything well, but the husband is still out there.
yes, sometimes these men consider their wives as housewives. The woman is just good within the four walls of the house, give birth to children, clean the house. There is this notion we call women we marry to housewives. Those housewives are good within the four walls of our compound. It is the side chicks we use for occasions. We use for outings. We use to go and rock. Because there is a notion that the woman in the house is a housewife. That's an impression.
Is it not also because we want to hide them from
Mr.
the
Lou,
other chicks,
a man,
the other chicks we want to meet out there?
A man can advise the wife to tie wrapper. They can never advise the side chick to tie wrapper. That psychology
Say, baby, how you look
already tells you where he has positioned the woman in the house.
Baby, how you come out today?
You are mommy. You in the house, you are mommy.
Which is not good.
That's what I'm telling you. A man can never advise the side chick to
come
put
out in
a
wrapper.
wrapper. But the wife, no, he will buy that wrapper for that country meeting and give to that your wife and tell you go to that country meeting because that is where you belong. He has classified the woman to be that one who stays in the house, cooks food in the house, keeps the house clean, and then washes dresses, take care of children. She's not good for snacks. She's not good for hotels. She's not good for functions. She's not good for occasions. That's it. And that is an African mentality, which is very, very bad.
Okay, which is very...
Most people consider the women outside to be more civilized than their wives in the house.
Yeah, but if your wife is not civilized, you should be held responsible.
Of course.
Because you have not civilized
You
her.
have not civilized her. What of the case of the woman refused to be civilized? Like the man who is refusing to remove his t-shirt.
Okay. Very difficult equation. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Bro John from Bamenda, greetings to you, Apostle Ambe. How can you cultivate an outing marriage? Okay. This one says, good evening, I need help for my marriage. My wife is in Germany for 2 years, okay? By the grace of God, Apostle Ambe would help you. Good evening, Mr. Apostle Ambe. What about a woman you are moving with and she wants to greet everyone before joining you? Kingsley is writing from Batibo. Yes, but take her at least out. Good evening, Mr. Liu and Apostle Ambe. This is Bless writing from Douala. I really enjoy your program, mostly when Apostle Ambe is there. Please, can I have Apostle Ambe's number to chat a private issue with him? When you chat the private issue and he gives you advice, please think also of paying for this service, please. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu, and everyone in the studio. I'm enjoying the program. Thanks for the wonderful work you people are doing to make sure our country should be a better place for our citizens, even though it will never change. But the solution of this is prayers. And I'm getting all the listeners of my Media Prime channel, especially Reverend Father Bertus Esingie Fabrice, writing from Bamenda 8. Reverend, good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm writing to appreciate your efforts towards this program on Tuesdays. I am a keen listener of your program. Mr. Bangang Roger is writing from Bessa. Good evening to you. Good evening. Hello, good evening. I really enjoyed the program. It's so wonderful. Mary is writing from Bamenda. I wish to ask a question, please. What can cause a man never to be able to call his wife by her name, pet name, etc., even to use the name of any of his children to call her, e.g., Mami Ne or so? His kids have asked him why, but nothing. The wife is stressed up about it. has complained, begged, asked why, but he says nothing. He will send a child to call her or move to her and tell or ask what he needs and all that. The message not too clear. Good evening, wise one. God bless you all. Writing from Yaoundé, Madu. Bertrand, good evening to you, Bertrand. Good evening, sir. I'm learning much from your program. I wish many are delivered from marital problems. I hail you, Bishop, for your teachings. Thank you. Williams is writing from Boya. Now, we're going to be giving just an opportunity for Mr. Sanji Yvette to talk on our second topic, which had to do with what it takes to make our children successful.
Good evening once more, Mr. Leo. Children, helping your children to be successful in life, I will tell you that parents might have just 50% of the deal here, while the children have another, the rest 50%. Because in as much as we parents, in fact, there's no parent that wants to put to bed a child and don't see that child succeed. But when we have criminals today, when we have a lot of ills in our society today committed by people, it is not because the parents wish that the children should be that way. Every parent's dream, every parent's wish is that their children should be successful. But in as much as the parents have a role to play, the children equally have a role to play. One thing you should understand is that when it comes to parenting, the way you parent a child of 2 years, 3 years is different from the way you parent a child of 7, 8 years. And it's equally different from the way you parent a child of a teenage age child. When it comes to teenage age, know that at that level, some level of stubbornness have come in. Some level of a desire to be independent is there. And so sometimes what parents try to do is they get so frustrated with the process of helping their children become successful. This is why I say that at the end of the day, parents have 50%. Because like the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. He might be old before he is like thinking that, okay, what my parents were telling me were correct. But there's a certain age that it becomes really frustrating. And at that level, sometimes parents have nothing to do than pray for their children. Because no matter what they do, no matter what they provide for the child, you provide for some children, say, okay, so that they shouldn't go wayward. Yet they look at it like life is too easy. And they take those things and instead, do ugly things that you cannot even think of. Then you don't provide, they go out there and still try to steal or get money from their boyfriends. At the end of the day, sometimes you might not know which one is working and which is not working. So parents should train up their children. They should do their best in bringing up their children. Because what the child sees as she's growing up, as he's growing up, it stays with them. So as a parent, you first of all need to be a role model to your child. You be a role model to your children. If they're talking about being truthful, your children they should stand anywhere and quote and say, my mother is this kind of person, my father is this kind of person. So you do your part while the children have their own role to play. So Mr. Leo, at one moment in time, helping your children to be successful, you can like say you have to depend a lot on God. Because it can be really, really frustrating sometimes. But there is a stage where when a child passes that stage, especially the teens, the teenage age, from 13 to 19, the teen, that between these ages, these are the ages where children really go crazy. But when a child gets to 20, they start reasoning some things that you were telling them and that they were neglecting. So from 20s above, a child knows that now they are mature to the level where they cannot differentiate the wrong from the right. But you should also understand that the environment that the child stays in also matters a lot. If the environment is crookish, that child will grow up that way. You cannot even joke with children nowadays, no matter how smart you are. The children nowadays can outsmart you. They can outsmart you if you are too strict. So here you need to also understand parenting styles. Like I said, the way you parent children of 5 is different from you parent children of 18. At 18, you cannot be trying to control them around like they are 5 years. The highest thing you can do is work hand in glove with them, collaborate with them, draw them closer to you. Within those teenage age, all that teenage age, that is the highest period that the children need you to, change your parenting styles with them. If you want to be so strict, the least chance they have, what they can do, you will not believe it. That's why today we have youth organizing sex party. Things we've never even heard of in those days. They have sex party. You go there, the kind of scenario is ugly. You begin to wonder, are these children not coming from, some of them are coming from Christian homes. But what can you say? Some of them, maybe their parents are even pastors. At the end of the day, the parents is doing what they can do, but the child has a role to play. And that maturity only comes in at that kind of 20, where you really see them now start differentiating that, okay, this is wrong and this is right. But between the teenage age, the highest you can do is try to talk with them like calmly, help them to understand that at that moment they feel like they want to be independent, they feel like life is so exciting, they want to have the best of it, but that is not it. So at the end, you just need God to help you.
We need God to help Mr. Esingie. Thank you for that contribution. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Congratulations to your guest for his expertise. Why is it that God authorized our Muslim brothers to marry as many wives as possible, and the same God used the New Testament to limit our Christian brothers to one wife? Consistently, this has promoted cheating among the Christians than the Muslims. Which religion is right? Chris is writing from Bonaberry. I don't know whether the New Testament forbids polygamy.
The New Testament forbids polygamy on leaders in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 3. Say, if the man desires the office of a bishop or a deacon, he should be a husband to one wife. That's the responsibility of leadership in the church. You are not permitted as a pastor, a deacon, an elder, or a bishop to have more than a wife. But concerning other single persons, is silent about that. I've always said that there are things that God is silent about. We should not create doctrines out of it.
Okay. What are you telling this brother? That the New Testament does not expressly
deny polygamy.
Deny polygamy. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. God bless you. I'm really enjoying the program. Billy Roche is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to you, Billy Roche. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the wise men in the studio. I keep begging my husband to buy a ring for me for the old one got cut, but he doesn't care about it. Mercy is writing from Limbe. Good evening to you all, sir. Please, sir, I wish to ask why some married men or boyfriends would prefer to allow their wife at home and take out their side chick for party or shopping. Nancy is writing from Yaoundé. I'm sure Apostle Ambe is denouncing that.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please, I am in this pot of soap you are discussing right now. My wife suspects me each and every time I miss her calls. Maybe because I'm driving back home with all this traffic. What can I do? Sebastian is writing from Yaoundé. She only needs to trust you. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I got married to a single mother. While in my house, I take her child as mine, but later discover that my wife is doing segregation behind, gives money and many other things to her daughter without my knowledge. Is this woman worthy, a worthy married woman?
Yes,
no?
She is.
Okay, but she
is.
Okay.
It depends on how the man has equally treated the daughter too.
Okay.
Some men maltreat their stepdaughters.
Their stepdaughters, okay. My husband will refuse to take me out because he says he doesn't want other men to admire me. Good evening, Apostle. I do my best in my house. I don't work, but my husband still complains. I love the program. He does not give me gifts. I also like going out for leisure. I think the husband should do something now.
He should do something.
Well, men, please, we should change in the name of Jesus. Good evening to you, Mr. Leo and Apostle, and I am Fallon watching from Douala. Everything depends on how we all start up our relationship before getting married. It takes a level of maturity for two people to accept the 1 + 1 is equal to 1 concept. The tendency today, from my point of view, is many men feel shy around their wives and feel more comfortable around their side chicks. Most married women really dress horrible. When you ask them out, if you see a married woman in a snack, you must know. Okay, married women, you people should also
upgrade.
You should upgrade, please. Good evening to you, Mr. Leo. What happened when you go out with your wife and she must disgrace you in front of your friends? What should be done?
Yes,
It's Dagrun writing from Limbe. Help her. You just have to help her. This one says, thanks for the number. I believe I will have a solution to my problems as soon as possible. Amen. I join you. You have it. Good evening, Mr. Liu and all in the studio. What if the man you have in the house but does not have the wife time, but rather spend all his time on his phone, writing from Douala? That is what we talked about already. Hello, Mr. Leo. Good evening and special greetings to Apostle Ambe. I just wish to find out that what if you always go out with your husband to go get some fresh air and relax, but he spends most of his time looking and admiring other people rather than initiating discussions with you? I feel so frustrated going out with him, and most often going out with him is so boring. So I rather prefer staying at home. Elizabeth writing from Betua. Please, you guys should work on that. Apostle, we have come to the end of today's edition of the program. Thank you for coming.
Thank you to Mr. Leo. For those of you who are following me on social media, follow me on my page, Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa. That's my page, Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa. And then my contact number for WhatsApp is 693-105191. 693-105191.
Okay, and if you are watching us, there is the Peace House that is planning a visit to the Bamenda prison. They asked me to ask you who are watching the program to assist them in any way possible so that they can meet some of the needs of the inmates at the Bamenda prison. So if you're watching us and you think that you want to join Peace House to assist the inmates of the Bamenda prison, please do get to me after this program. We want to thank you all who took time off to watch the program. Thank you to you, Ms. Esingie, Yvette, who is organizing a great event out there in Bamenda. Can we have that poster again? If you are in Bamenda, make it a rendezvous to be there with Ms. Esingie, Yvette, on the 19th of December, so that the stories of your life, living as a wife, living as a lover, the story can actually be turned around in their company. You're going to have fun, and then very, very impactful messages and teachings and activities that will actually teach you to be romantic. If you are not romantic, you said some people are naturally not romantic. Yes. I'm sure that's going to be an opportunity. Many of you say you don't go out. Your husband does not take you out. That's an opportunity for the husband and the wife to join other couples to celebrate December. We want to thank you all who took time off to watch, and to you, Eli and Desmond, and to you, Tambe Bryant, who is supervising the work we do out there. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.